We're going to start with the Serenity Prayer, and then we'll go into the daily reflections. If you or someone you know are questioning yourselves about whether or not you're an alcoholic or whether they are an alcoholic or drug addict, reach out. We can help you. You don't have to do it alone. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Grant me patience with the struggles that take time, and appreciation for all that I have, tolerance of those with different struggles, and the strength to get up and try again, one day at a time. On new direction. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all our activities. Alcoholics Anonymous, pages 45, 85. I hear talk of the weak-willed alcoholic, but I am one of the strongest-willed people on earth. I now know that my incredible strength of will is not enough to save my life. My problem is not one of weakness, but rather of direction. When I, without falsely diminishing myself, accept my honest limitations and turn to God's guidance, my worst faults become my greatest assets. My strong will, rightly directed, keeps me working until the promises of the program become my daily reality. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves, obviously. We come to understand that our human resources, guided solely by our willpower, prove to be insufficient and ultimately fail us. We acknowledge that our own strength of will, even if considered strong, by most standards, cannot alone bring about our recovery. After we admit defeat and find a belief in a higher power, we engage in the process of self-reflection, self-forgiveness, and amends-making. We take a fearless moral inventory of ourselves, acknowledging our defects of character and shortcomings. In sixth step, we become entirely ready to have these flaws removed by a higher power. Our strong will, coupled with the humility to recognize our imperfection, fuels our determination to actively work on ourselves and strive for progress. While we work on ourselves in the middle steps, we help the newcomer who is confused and curious if the program can work for them. We are uniquely qualified to help because we are like them in the problem and are examples to them for hope of recovery. We are walking examples of God's miracle-making power. Step 11 encourages us to improve our conscious contact with a power greater than ourselves through prayer and meditation. By using these spiritual practices, we nurture a connection with our higher power beyond ourselves and deepen our understanding of His will for us. This connection sustains us in our daily lives, enabling us to carry the vision of God's will into all our activities. We are never cured of our alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve, contingent on the maintenance of that spiritual condition. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of His Spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God-conscious. We have begun to develop that vital sixth sense. We seek spiritual progress in order to improve our own lives, but also to help others recover. By doing the first, with the right motive, we get the second, and it continues in a loving circle of recovery. We stay sober by helping others, which keeps us connected to our higher power and to others. We work diligently, carrying the vision of our higher power's will into everything, knowing that our dedication will yield positive and transformative results. A community grows up around us, a community of sober people wanting nothing more than to be useful to others and to stay sober. We stay sober by being helpful. So simple. Yet, before working the steps, we could not have conceived such a program. It is now the purpose of our lives. On new direction. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all our activities. Alcoholics Anonymous, pages 45, 85. I hear talk of the weak-willed alcoholic, but I am one of the strongest-willed people on earth. I now know that my incredible strength of will is not enough to save my life. My problem is not one of weakness, but rather of direction. When I, without falsely diminishing myself, accept my honest limitations and turn to God's guidance, my worst faults become my greatest assets. My strong will, rightly directed, keeps me working until the promises of the program become my daily reality. Carpe the diem, boys and girls. Please subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching.